What's going on, everyone? So, the Final Destination Bloodlines Final Destination 6 trailer has officially dropped, and I thought it was great, right? Didn't give away too much, which is always the concern, right? When you're talking about these trailers, you don't want to kind of give away the meat and potatoes, and that's a real trend that you see with trailers nowadays, right? It seems like, studios love to kind of give you just the meat of it rather than, kind of just enough to get you excited, enough to get you hooked. And when you're talking about the Final Destination franchise, we all know what to expect. Right? We all know what is around the corner and how this movie is going to play out to an extent. Obviously, it's going to have its own storyline. It's supposed to tie in and connect. It's also supposed to explain a lot of just kind of the history and how things have came. And you saw that in the trailer. The grandma hands the book, right, that has like everything you need to know, and you see like all the original films kind of displayed in it, the Boeing jet and all that stuff. So I'm excited to see kind of how they explain and how they kind of put the pieces together, and how it ties into the past. And, you're supposed to get an explanation on the visions and all that stuff. And again, looking at the trailer, it appears that we're going to get a good amount of that. And I'm excited for that, right? Now, obviously, said it before, trailers, they in studios, they have a tough task of kind of balancing excitement for a newer audience and trying to get people engaged and excited that maybe aren't super familiar with the franchise or just coming into the franchise, things like that. But, it more often than not hurts people like us that we are privy to the franchise. We do know what to expect when it comes to these films. And, you don't want to see all the over-the-top kills. You got a couple teasers, right? Which was like, okay, that's great. I love how they've been marketing this film thus far. I love how we keep getting these little hits of things, and I hope that they keep that up leading into the film, because I do think that that's a very easy kind of creative way to kind of get fans and moviegoers excited, right? One of the things that I thought, like, you look at Scream 5 in particular, they took essentially 2 full trailers and then turned them into like 30 little like 10-second trailers, and had so much marketing and promotion, and it ended up being a success, right? So that is something that you start to see a lot of other films start to follow. And I'm not saying that they're the first ones to do it, but they're the ones that I think did it the most and the heaviest out of anybody, even to this day, right? So I do like that Final Destination really keeps giving us these little hits, and I hope that that keeps on happening. But big question is like, okay, a little teaser kind of gets you excited and pumped, not the same thing as a trailer that could potentially ruin and spoil everything for you. And now you're like, oh, well, now we've already seen all the good bits of the film. Well, they didn't do that. Right? You didn't really actually get to see any deaths. Like, you kind of got like, the barbecue scene or whatever, right? The family hangout. You got to kind of get to see what is potentially to happen, which I imagine that's going to be the setup. That's probably going to be like the flashback sequence, right? And then you got to see the guy with the piercing stuff that looks like he's in the shop, the tattoo shop. They kind of give you this look like he gets hit by a bus. I don't know if that is what's going to happen, because we see him in that little teaser, the first one that they gave us. So, is that kind of a misdirection? Is that just something where, he's about to get hit and then they kind of pull him aside, or they or he dodges it at the last minute or something like that, and then later on ends up meeting his end, right? Kind of like, see, like, I can't die, right? That kind of thing. But regardless, with this trailer, and, I thought that they did a good job of the pace of the trailer, that they did a good job of just kind of giving you, like I said, just enough to get you pumped and excited. Again, we know the gist of it. But the problem is that the gist of it is why you go watch these films. You're not going to these movies to go watch some artsy horror film that's just this very, fleshed out story. No, I'm not saying that they've had bad stories. Some of them have had some really good stories. Some of them not so much. Some of them have kind of been a little all over the place at times, or have tried to make connections to past films, and you're kind of like, that doesn't really make sense, but sure, right? We're there to watch death go through this chain reaction effect that leads to the death of one of the characters, right? Like, we're there to see the craziness that unfolds, right? Yes, you might be somebody that likes a particular story, right? I think it was Final Destination 3. Like, I really enjoyed that one, with what was the roller coaster one? right? Like there's some that I do like the story, I do like the overall, but at the end of the day, you're there for the just gore, the chaos, the craziness that comes with those films. And you don't want to ruin that by giving somebody all of that you need going into the film. I thought that they did a really good job with the trailer of just keeping it close to the chest, right? Yeah. Allowed viewers to use their imagination on how things are going to fold, right? Even like the lawnmower's coming, right? And you get to kind of see like the dad or whatever getting ready to is that how he's going to meet his end? Is it going to be the lawnmower, right? You see the reaction after, but it's a cut. So is it the lawnmower? Is it something else, right? You see what happens with the piece of glass that was in the cup, right? You thought maybe somebody was going to swallow that, but it looks like, the dad steps on it, right? Like you got these little things, but I also think that they cut it in a way and made it to where you don't really know where's what and what's going to happen. I mean, I'm sure more likely than not, it's probably as straightforward as it seems, where, like the dad probably meets his fate to the lawnmower or whatever. But I do think that, again, it gave you at least some bit of imagination. It let the viewer kind of fill in and put in what they wanted to see, which still gives you enough excitement to get pumped for the actual film itself, right? Like that's something that I think is good and beneficial, because because if we just see, then now we're going to go to the theater, we're going to know. Right. And yes, even if you do know, you don't know. Right. So again, you're still kind of on the edge of your seat, like, oh, okay. So it was that. Yeah, it was the lawnmower. Right. Or if it isn't, you're like, oh, I thought it was going to be the lawnmower. It was really this. Right. Like those are the things that, kind of keep you engaged and invested going into the film. So I did think that they did a really good job of just kind of capturing what you wanted to capture in the trailer, get people pumped and excited, the new goers, the people that maybe they're just finding the Final Destination franchise, or they just got old enough to watch these films or whatever, right? Like they now can kind of see that, go, okay, like this looks interesting. I thought it was interesting and grabbing enough to where, it's like, okay, I'm curious to see what happens and how that plays out. And I'm sure a lot of those people are going to go and like, oh, hey, this is the 6th installment. Let me watch the other 5, right? Or at least a couple of them, or even the last one, to kind of get an idea of what to expect when you get into the theater to sit down and watch this display, right? But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? What did you make of the trailer? Were you excited for the trailer? Did you like the trailer? Were you kind of like, it's whatever. I'll link the trailer down in the description. If you haven't watched it yet, go check out the trailer itself, because I think it was a good trailer. However you feel, whatever your thoughts are. Either way, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.